Thank you very much, Tiander, and good evening or afternoon or morning, everyone. My name is Michal. I'm a program manager in Sentinel, responsible for this investigation experience you'll be seeing along with a great team on my side. And thank you for joining us. Tiander?
Thank you, Michal. My name is Tiander. I'm a program manager as well for Microsoft Sentinel, same as Michal, and we're both really excited to deliver this webinar. So I welcome you all, and I promise you this will be an exciting session. We're both very excited to show you the new Sentinel new incident investigation experience. So I will turn off my camera. You've seen me all. I will wave, and I want to give the floor to Michal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tiander. So I would like, first of all, to thank you all for joining this webinar. And this is actually a double thank you because this exciting new experience of investigating incidents we're about to show you is really a product of a massive research that we have done with you, our partners, our customers. The journey started with you, and we really hope that this new experience will answer a lot of the things that you brought up along the way. So the goal of this new investigation experience, was to reduce the time it takes to triage, investigate, and resolve an incident. I'm sure this is a goal that you all share with us. And I would like to share with you a little bit of the research process we did. So first of all, we went to our customers and partners to learn about the day in the life of a SOC analyst, just to understand what are the processes you're doing, which tools you are using, which information helps you to both triage, investigate, and remediate incidents. We also, of course, looked at our telemetry, the current usage of the current incident page that is generally available. Of course, we also looked at market research. We've consulted with our first party and research teams that we love and appreciate. We took all of this information and then we started thinking about possible designs that would answer the gaps that we will be talking about in a moment, the gaps, the asks, the dreams, the delights that were shared with us during the research. We finalized 2 viable incident versions and collected feedback on those versions from about 100 customers and got the feedback that helped us to finalize this experience. And this is why I mentioned the fact that this is your doing. We finalized the design, combining those versions into a final design, and of course drove improvements to the new design in light of common attack stories and feedback from analysts, from researchers, and so on. So this has been a very deep and vast research process. The main pain points that came up in this process were the ones you're seeing here. So the ability to be able to work with other Microsoft products, the need for easy pivoting when necessary and no pivoting when not necessary, having all the entity information inside the incident, and more tools, more information, less context switching. Those were the main pain points that we gathered from you, from our community. We took all those pain points and tried to come up with a set of tools, information, and designs that would answer those main pain points. These will be shared, of course. I will be talking about some of them, and Tiander will be demoing all of them in a minute. So as a reminder, we wanted to reduce the time it takes to triage, investigate, and resolve incidents. The first thing we did is made sure that during most of the investigation, triage, and investigation process, the context of the incident stays in the focus, less pivoting. So have integration of entity info, having integration of logs, so you will be able to query whether it is artifacts or entities that are within the incident, and whether it's just something that struck you in the middle of investigation and you would like to check without losing the context of the incident. Also, integration of bookmarks, the ability to add bookmarks to the incident from the incident and see it as part of the timeline with all its details, and also editing it. So this is the part basically about the design. So having the visibility to all the details, having everything in context. The second part was accurate and relevant information for triage and investigation. So we're talking about entity information, alerts information, bookmarks information, having all of that in the context of the incident, trying to minimize the need to pivot, whether it's to other blades in the product and whether it is to outside tools. When pivoting is needed, we try to make it as seamless as possible and only when necessary. We also added tools. So we will be showing you some exciting new features today that are part of the incident page. So we have actions on both the incident and the entities inside the incident. Audits. We have an audits feed now that is auto-refreshed. It has information about changes made in the incident, whether manually by the analyst or by automation, and the ability for this feed to also auto-refresh if, for example, two analysts are working on the same incident, or an automation inserts a comment at the same time that the analyst investigates the incident. So we have, for example, changes of severity, changes of status, alerts that were added or deleted, etc., etc. It's all in that audit log, in that feed. We also integrated with the threat intake indicator repository with the add entity to STI, a threat indicator. It will be demoed later. The point here is being if the analyst investigates the incident and they see that a certain entity is an IOC, we allow you to add it to the TI repository without ever leaving the incident or changing the context, with a seamless integration that you will see as well. Another new feature is top insights. So I assume you're familiar with the entity insights in the entity pages. So not only did we bring all this information into the incident page, but we've had our security researchers select those top insights that should surface the most important information about the entities as you go into the incident. So, for example, if an entity is has a match in the threat indicator repository, whether it's in a watch list, whether there are UEBA insights or anomalies, all of that will be surfaced as top insights, without, of course, leaving behind all the other entity insights that will be there as well. So another tool that is also integrated is the tasks, the ability to have workflows for the analyst as part of the incident page without having to pivot or to even go to another tool. It's all there. So basically, this new experience brings new design, new tools, and new information, and we really, really hope that this will answer a lot of the pain points that were surfaced. We do encourage you to give your feedback, since this is built on your feedback. So we will continue building on that, more capabilities, more tool, adding in more information as we go along. This is a great opportunity to thank all of you for your feedback, for your partnership, for letting us know what you think in an honest and very full way. This is also a good opportunity to say thank you to the amazing team that built all this. So thank you. And now I will pass it on to Tiander for a very detailed demo. Enjoy. Thank you, Tiander.
Thank you, Michal. I'm gonna share my screen. So let me allow me to switch over. Michal, can you let me know if you can see the screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to look at the incident redesign, the new experience. So what I'm showing you now is actually the landing page of Microsoft Sentinel, right? So this is the page which you get if you open up the Sentinel page. So we're going to focus on incidents. So I'm going to click on incidents here, and I'm going to specifically look and investigate and triage a specific incident. So when I click on this, I can see already some details right here on the right-hand side. And what I wanted to show you is the details that we're going to explore. So when I'm going to click on View Full Details, it will open up another a page, where you can look at the incident details. Now, when you look at it today, or where you watch the recording, you might see this experience, which is actually the current experience which is out there. Now, notice that we have here a new coming soon banner, right? So we are actually announcing the stuff, the things that I'm going to show you in this demo. And also, there's a capability to switch over the new design when we are going to release this as a preview. And how do you switch over? Well, there's a magic button right here to try the new experience. So when I click on this, it's going to reload the page, and it's actually going to show you the new incident redesign page that we are announcing here in this session, and we're demoing this to you. Now you can immediately see a dramatic change here in the layout, which has been carefully designed to give you as much as information as possible. And the objective here is to make sure that you get as much as information without leaving this page actually. What I'm going to do is focus on a couple of things left to right. So the first thing that I'm going to focus on are the new buttons that are right here. So we have three new buttons: logs, task, activity log. So let's start there to show you how much did we change the experience going forward. Now, one of the important feedback that we got is whenever we want to dive in and have more information, the page is being, we are leaving the page, and then I need to pivot back and forth. And that is actually what I'm going to demonstrate. So one of the biggest feedback that we got, if you want to search, do a free form search, right? What happens now? So I'm going to click on logs, and you see it will open a new kind of window here, but I am still in context, meaning I still have all the information right here. But now I can go ahead and I can run a query if I wanted to kind of, hey, search for more information. I can run a query. I can look at information here. You can see a certain identity that has signed in with specific information. All of that might be very useful to triage this incident. What we also added here is the bookmark capability. So whenever you see an interesting activity or interesting event that you want to kind of, hey, I want to bookmark this and make sure it becomes part of that incident, now you can click on the query that I just executed, and I found something interesting within this query. Maybe this identity is interesting for me to note, and then I can click on the add bookmark section right here, and that will add a bookmark in the incident. Let me click on this, and that allows me to give it a name. So I'm going to call it webinar demo. And then what I can do is I can provide entity mapping. So I can say whatever I found in here, I'm going to map as the entity. So you can see different entities and I can map it. But I also can select MITRE tactics and techniques. So let's assume that this is kind of a discovery, and the attacker is kind of doing an account discovery, I can check the boxes that way. I can add a tag, which is suspicious, right? And then I can add some notes. This looks, if I can type, looks suspicious. Please investigate. And then I have the option right here. I can either select to create that bookmark. So that will be a standalone bookmark that can be leveraged for hunting, which might not be relevant or related to this incident, but I do want to follow up. Or I can decide to create that bookmark and attach it to the current incident. And that is what we're going to do. So we're going to create that bookmark. You see it creating now. And now that bookmark with a couple of clicks has been created for me. Now, when I close this, I'm going to close this, you will notice that the page is being refreshed. So we will update that information. And that brings me to the timeline. I will go back to this two new buttons in a second, but I wanted to show you this webinar demo bookmark that I created. So first of all, if you've never seen the timeline, this is a chronicle way to show, this is a multi-stage attack, a chronicle way to show you what happened. So someone clicked on the URL, someone accessed, and we access a potential phishing website. And this is actually from here, I can click on the alert just to see more information, right? And it gives me a description, what happened. So someone clicked on a malicious URL, an alert was triggered. You can see the entities, all of that. And that is just part of this new experience. So I can click on the alert, get some new information. Now back to the bookmark, right? I created that bookmark because it's important for me to kind of add the evidence, as you, if you will, to the incident. But I can also kind of use the filtering capability here to see the timeline content, which I'm currently showing. Or maybe I want to filter on the severity and tactics, so I can just look at the content that's important to me. But again, the webinar demo is my bookmark, which I easily can remove, or I can edit it, so I can update it. But let's see what the bookmark that maybe another analyst has added. So I can click on the bookmark, and I can see all the information that I added it. I added the tag suspicious. And I also have the notes. So if I'm the second analyst or maybe the tier 2 analyst, I can look at the notes and I can say, okay, this needs some investigation. Now notice here that we also have the raw results, right? So what is very convenient for me, if I want to have more information, I can actually click on this arrow and it would kind of maximize that window. So which I'm going to do. Now that will open another pane for me, which gives me very interesting information about loads of information, right? So what was the operation name? What was the resource group? What was the identity? And I can scroll through it and I can actually look at, hey, location details. Let's open it up so I can see, hey, this came from Washington. I can see some geo coordinates, and I can actually browse through it to kind of get a good sense of information, whether this is a true or a false positive. So this is all the information that I get. So this is in kind of a brief showing you what the bookmark experience is, what the timeline experience is. So that's a really convenient way to look at alerts in detail. I can open up every one of those. I can even open up the alert ID if I wanted to. But let's go back to the second thing that I wanted to show you is the tasks. So I just mentioned the tasks here, which is pretty new, same as the activity log and the logs. And what is a task, right? So a task is something I can create to kind of make sure I follow a specific sequence, or maybe I just want to have a number of steps that I want the analyst to go through before escalating this to a tier, to a higher tier. So how does that work? So I can click on tasks, right? And currently I have an empty task pane. I can add a task, and I can say validate the IP addresses, because they might be um, malicious, something like that, right? And I can also say send an email to the manager, stuff like that. And obviously you can so let me correct this. You can use formatting. I can do this in bold. I can do this in italic. I can add URLs if I wanted to, and do all the formatting. So I can save this so to be completed. And then you can see here a 1 task and 0 have been completed. Now, there are multiple use cases for tasks, right? So what I also can do is I can automatically add multiple tasks in here. So meaning that if I close this, there's a incident and actions here that I can call up. So incident actions are a couple of things. I can run a playbook. I can create an automation rule, or I can create a Teams site for me to collaborate. So let's, for the sake of the task demo, let's run a playbook, right? And one of the playbooks, this is our SOAR capability. I can manually add tasks. So let me run this, and this will trigger a automation playbook that will add automatically tasks for me. But I could also, as you've seen, I can also, based on the information that I build up, and maybe I learn new stuff, I learn new capabilities, I can also create an automation rule immediately from this page. I didn't leave the page, so you can see I'm still in this page. And I can say, I can give it a name, and I can say whenever this incident is created based on maybe the title, or maybe I can see an account name, or any condition, or even when the incident is updated, or when an alert is created, I can decide actions to take. So one of the actions, which is obviously relevant to this demo, is that I, besides changing status or assigning an owner, I can also kind of choose the as task here. And whenever I do that, whenever I create a task, I can do the same thing. Give it a title, investigate account, and I can add a description. So you can see the same kind of capability, and I can add whatever I want here. And again, put this in bold, italic, and all of that. And when I click on apply, the next time that this incident with a specific, maybe in a specific analytics rule, so you can see, you can pick and choose an analytics rule. So let's say that I want to look at sign-in logs, sign in, a top user signed in. Whenever that incident is being created, the next time, automatically these rules are being executed. So this is what the automation rule capability is. Now let me cancel this out, and let me go back again to the task, because you saw that I invoked a playbook. And what did that playbook did for me? It automatically kind of populated the tasks. So this might be a specific sequence that I want the SOC analyst to follow. And what I can do, and also can open this up. I can edit this. So if I want to edit this, and I did send an email to the manager, so I'm going to complete this and save it. But I also can complete all of the tasks, which then now completes this whole task sequence. And you can see that based on the icons here, you can see that this was added by automation, by our automation capabilities, and this was added by me. So you can see manual versus automation being mixed and matched across this whole kind of experience. Now, whenever I do something with this incident, either I set the severity to a higher severity, or I set it to new or active, there's going to be things that are going to be captured. All the things that I'm doing are going to be captured in the activity log. So the activity log right here is going to capture everything that I do. So if I look at the activity log, it will show me the activities that have been performed during this life cycle of the incident. And you can see I did a bunch of bookmarks, right? I added a bunch of bookmarks, and this might get a little bit crowded. So what I can do, I can go ahead and filter these to only show me the comments. And that will show the comments that have been made. And you can see here again, remember that I talked about the icon here? You can see that an automatic comment has been created by a playbook, which gives me a great assistance, automated, that shows me that, hey, automatically we evaluated the risk of those entities. And I can see that, hey, I have a risk level that is pretty high on a specific account, because that account might be confirmed compromise. So and that automation automatically raised the incident severity to high. So all of these can be automated, and that dramatically saves time for the SOC analyst to go and check information that I can resolve, or I can get that information using automation. So that's a very important aspect of Sentinel, to mix and match kind of automation versus remediation and manually doing stuff here. Now let's assume that I have multiple SOC analysts working on the same incidents, which is a real life experience, right? So what happens if I'm the second analyst and I'm working on the same incident? Now let's pivot over to a second tab I have open here, and let's say that this is another analyst. What I wanted to show you is this new activity pop-up that we have. So while I'm working on the incident as the second analyst and I'm scrolling back and forth, this will stay active for me. So it notifies me that, hey, you have new activities that you might want to be informed about. So I can click about this and I will jump right to the last activity. So to the new activities that someone else might have been updated while I'm working on the incident. So that's a very important aspect. So back to the first tab I was working on. What I also wanted to show you is on the left-hand side, obviously the breadcrumb to the original, the source. So I can pivot over to Defender if I wanted to. And this will look familiar to you, right? So you can see the product names, you can see the entities, the MITRE alignment, the tags and the comments here. But what we also updated is the experience right here. So you notice that you have kind of the events, we have the alerts here. So the amount of alerts, and I added the bookmark, which is updating here. But what we updated here is also based on your feedback, is what if I wanted to look at the alerts and not only at the timeline, but I wanted to interact a little bit more with the alerts. Well, now we have brought you this experience. When I click on this, it will open in context and also pre-populated a query with all the alerts that are part of the incident. So I can go through all the alerts and I can potentially open one of those up, and I can look at the information here. I can see, hey, there has been some executions going on. I can look at the extended properties right here. There was malware found. I can look at the command line if I wanted to, and you can see that I can go very deep if I wanted to, right? And I can influence the query if I wanted to. So I can bookmark this again, and I can go ahead and deep dive on it. So this will allow you to deep dive on all the alerts and interact with it if I wanted to. So and again, you didn't see me leaving this page, right? So I'm still staying in the contact, and this is what an analyst wants. He wants to be in this experience. Now I'm clicking on done, and we'll refresh the page for you in case new information has pop up. What I wanted to show you before I get to something exciting is what we call similar incidents. So
Tiander,
yeah, go ahead.
may I interrupt you just for a
Yeah,
moment,
please do. Please do.
So one thing I wanted to point out, just for those of you that would like, in all the widgets that Tiander will be showing, to have like some more space, a little bit more of a size for the widget. Then Tiander, next to the owner, you have these double arrows right there.
Yeah.
And if you could click on them, please, then we will be minimizing this details panel. It will be hidden, but as you can see, you still have the severity, the status, and the owner, and they're actually interactable. You can, even in this minimized state, change the severity, change the owner, or change the status of the incident. So just a little thing to point out for convenience.
So I can even kind of update the incident from here. So
exactly, yeah.
Oh, so let me put it in this state. I'll hit apply. That's nice. So we have kind of icons here to make my experience better. So that's nice. Yeah, thanks for chiming in.
Yep.
So similar incidents, right? So Michal, what is this about? Can you talk a little bit about similar incidents? Because I have seen this, but I haven't used it much. Well, what is it about?
Of course. So similar incidents is an ML-based feature that allows you to see the 20 most similar incidents to the current incidents that are calculated for the past 14 days. So there are several similarity reasons, and actually you can see them as in the column of similarity reason. For example, similar entities, similar rule, or both. And the reason for this is also for one scenario is basically to understand whether there are other incidents that might be related to this incident, as in a larger scope of breach, a larger incident than was detected, or a larger incident that was detected by with few analytic rules. Another scenario is really to see, for example, other incidents with the same entities on the same rule that were previously dealt with. Maybe they were true positive, maybe they were false positives. Actually, if we scroll, we can see all the list, and we can also see that the status of those incidents. We can click on the incident number, it's linkable, and then a new incident, the incident will open, so you can see the details of this incident. You can also see who handled that incident in case you would like to reach out and ask questions and understand what was done there, what were the conclusions, or maybe there's another analyst handling an incident which is with your incident part of a larger one. So this is a very powerful tool. It's based on machine learning, so the algorithm keeps learning all the time. Very powerful stuff.
Great. So I also saw kind of a new enclosed, but some incident have kind of this undetermined. Well, what's that about?
So this is the closing status that was actually chosen by the analyst that worked on that incident. This is a very good case of maybe trying to reach out to that analyst and understand what happened there. Maybe this incident was undetermined, but with the current incident, it will gain more context.
Right. So I'll get some more information because I have similar entity, and let's say that it is closed and it says true benign or false positive. Then I have some indications where to focus on in this incident triage. So that's great. Yep. Thank you. So let's move to the right, and I want to focus on the top insights here, because that is a very interesting kind of capability that we added for the SOC analyst to kind of get immediately kind of more information whether this is a true positive, false positive, or really a risky one and a high severity one. So we have multiple insights. When we prior to releasing this, we already have the insights. So Michal, what's the difference between a top insight and the insights that we had already?
Great question. So we have those entity insights that will be shown later in the entities tab, and you're probably familiar with from the entity pages as well. Top insights are a subset of those insights, and they were specifically chosen by Microsoft's best security researchers that were faced with a question: what are those top insights that will allow the analyst in this overview of the incident to get as much information on the incident as soon as possible and the entities in the incident. So this is the context of those top insights. So for example, we can see if an entity has a match in TI, which is like, I guess, the first question we might want to ask ourselves about a specific entity. We would also want to know whether this entity is in some kind of watch list. That will give us a lot of information. We would like also to know the remote connection of a specific IP. Maybe this is an IP that is internal and we would like to see where it connects. And also UEBA-based anomalies. So a lot of top insights here for you to explore.
Yeah, it looks nice, and I can collapse this and I can look through it. I did see this this interesting link, right? So if I click on the account activity, it again opens up a query in context. And again, I'm repeating myself here a couple of times, so forgive me, but I'm not leaving the incident experience. So I can pivot over and I see, hey, there's a change password operation against this specific entity. So that's really really nice. So with the top insights going back 24 hours, it's going to be really relevant for this incident, and I can pivot over and explore all these insights, and which gives me some confirmation of whether I should be diving deeper into a specific entity. So you saw me clicking on a watch list that we have. So this is a VIP entity, which a lot of power, so to say, a lot of permissions. So I can look at these and I can see what happened over time. All kind of actions. I can hover over the graph if I wanted to, so I can see these kinds of actions, which gives me some information. So this is all great on the top insights. Now let's zoom in on the entity. So we talked about entities a couple of times now. Now entity is, as the word says, an entity which is part of an alert or an activity. And so therefore part of the incident itself. So you can see here, based on the icons here, you can see whether this is an alert, this is a bookmark, so you can see the different icons, and then we also have activities. I'm looking for an activity, but I'll show that activity later on. But the entities, when we look at the entity right here, I can either search, so I can hey, let me search for a specific account that I saw. This is an account, or I can go ahead and filter, right? So I can, hey, show me all the accounts that I have available, and then it will show me that specific account. Now, as soon as I click on this, it will open the tab entities here and give me kind of a full view on that entity. And notice that this is being highlighted, right? So I scroll over this, but still it will highlight that specific account that I'm working on. Now notice that when I click back and forth, it updates this area here, which will show me some context information. So in this case, I clicked on an account and it is showing me the Azure AD information. So it shows me the user principal name, the object ID, the source, the member type, and I'll also see the membership of, so I can see I'm members of these teams. I can see different operations. So I'm a cloud architect. Well, not me, but the entity I'm clicking on. And based on this information, I can kind of know a little bit more. And that depends on which entity I've selected, because if I select a IP address, we will show here some more geo information. So you can see that this is from the United States. We will show the state, but we also show the city of that specific entity. Now, if I would have more information, because this might be a new entity that I'm seeing for the very first time, you can see that we are grabbing information if it exists in firewall logs, or maybe from an agent and heartbeat information, or a security alert. So if it exists in these tables, we will show you that. And if this would be a virtual machine or a physical machine, the integration with the Azure Monitoring Agent will populate right here. So we try to get as much as information as we can. While I'm showing you the IP entity, notice the dots that I have here. So whenever you see a dot, it means that I can do additional actions. So when I click on the dot, I can add this. So if I'm convinced about the malicious being this IP address, I can add this IP to an entity, and it gives me the capability to kind of add this immediately as an indicator of compromise to my threat intelligence. And I can actually slide this if I'm confident that this is I'm pretty sure that this is a malicious IOC, add kill chain, add a validity if I wanted to, description, hit on apply, and now the next time that we see this IP, it will be flagged as an IOC match. So that's the power that you have here. And also what is new here is that I can now also run a playbook against any entity. So when I run a playbook, it will be specifically targeted to that specific entity. So let's assume that now I'm looking for my hosts, which are part of this incident. What I can do now is I can run a playbook against this host. So if I want to kind of get more information about the details with regard to updates, maybe I'm concerned about that there are patches or updates that needs to be applied to this machine, I can interact now with my SOAR capability, which will grab information from this specific host and populate that and attach that to the incident. So so when I'm done here, I'm pivoting, and now the next time I'm going to look at the activity log, I'll see the SOAR capability kicking in, and now I can see, you haven't seen this before, but I invoked a playbook. You can see that, and based on the icon, and now I can see, hey, this machine is missing updates. This might be at risk, or you might have kind of, you need to maybe take an action here and invoke another playbook to apply those updates. So you can see these updates are missing, right? So this is the kind of the power that you have to kind of work with SOAR and invoke it when necessary, either automatically or when you want to kind of do this on behalf of someone else, something like that. So what I also wanted to show is, let's go back to the accounts right here. So what I wanted to show here, let's assume that I'm looking at this entity right here. Or let's pick this one. What I also can do is I can look at the timeline specifically for this account. So it will show me specific alerts, and this is what I wanted to show you earlier. So this is an alert, right? And this is kind of an event that I'm showing here. Let me do that one more time. So this is the event that I wanted to show. Now, what is interesting here, I can look for it, and the blue shield right here, sorry about zooming in, but I wanted to make sure you see it. The blue shield means that this is part of the incident already. Now, when I move over, you can see a gray kind of shield here, which means that it is not part of the incident, right? And you can see the red dotted lines here, which indicate that this is a high severity. Now, when I am confident that, hey, this user login from a different country, that might be indicating impossible travel. So what I wanted to do now is, hey, I think this is definitely part of this incident, and I want this to be part of it because this is very important information. So what I can do now, I can click on the plus sign, which will then, when I click on the plus sign, it becomes part of the incident. So let me do that. Clicking on the plus sign, I'm getting a warning, add alert to incident. Okay, let's do it. Now, and this alert will then be added to the incident. So when I go back to the overview page, I can now see that this alert has been added to the incident. You can see it's somewhere here. And now it enriches the incident, because going forward, I'm learning a lot of stuff. So let's see, Michal, what did I skip?
So first of all, just to on the last point you made, an alert that was added can also be deleted. I'm not sure we mentioned that, so I wanted to just make sure that we are aware, and also alerts that were part of the incident, which if it's not an M365 incident, can be deleted if you find them in any way irrelevant to the incident. Also, if you could pivot back to the entities tab just for a second.
Sure.
Thank you. So just wanted to make sure. So we have the entities info here. We have the timeline. We also have the insights. And I just wanted to remind us all that the top insights are a subset of the insights you will see here in this tab. I also wanted to emphasize that insights that have no results will not show in the top insights, but you will be able to see them here in the insights for the entity, just in case the fact that there are no results is actually valuable to you. So you can always see that here. And if you would like to dive deeper into the time range of those insights or the timeline, you can always go to the full entity page that is always available for you, whether it's with the view full details or by just clicking on the entity, which is clickable.
Yep.
I think that, yeah, I think you covered it all.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, I hope you all kind of enjoyed it. And yeah, Michal and I are both very excited for this demo. So I'm looking at the time. We're almost at time. So let me go back and pull up the slide. Jacqueline, maybe you want to talk about this slide to get more information and to become a member of our precious security community.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you, Tiander and Michal, for today's webinar. And just a shout out, thank you to the rest of the team who also helped to answer questions along the way. We had quite a few come in through the Q&A panel. So I wanted to also thank all of you attendees for being a part of our community and for joining our webinar. If we missed your question today, or if you have additional questions, you can also visit us on our Azure Sentinel forum at aka.ms/Azure Sentinel community. And also wanted to remind all of the listeners that the best way to ensure you don't miss any future webinars or major announcements is to join our public community at aka.ms/security community. You can speak directly to our engineering teams that create our security products. You'll also be able to influence product designs and get early access to any changes by doing things like participating in private previews or requesting features, especially giving feedback like Tiander and Michal mentioned today, and also just joining webinars like this. We definitely believe the best way to improve our products is by removing any barriers between you and the people that create them. So we hope you'll join us. And lastly, we just want to hear your feedback on how we can improve any of our webinars. So please take a minute to submit your feedback at aka.ms/security-webinar-feedback. So thank you all for being with us today, and we hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.